Hey, how's it going guys? It's Nate here, and welcome to West Virginia. Bethesda Game Studios' first crack at a multiplayer Fallout experience is finally here. Officially this time, free from the beta. Fallout 76 has just launched, releasing survivors into the chaotic, radioactive wasteland of old Appalachia. With this world being around 4 times as large as the Commonwealth we got to explore in the previous franchise installment, Fallout 76 certainly has the room for a number of Easter eggs, hidden secrets, and clever references to be scattered across its vast terrain. So today we'll be exploring just some of them, with definitely more to come, as we take a look at 10 tiny details you may have missed in Fallout 76. Starting off, once an organism such as a scorched or rad roach has been killed, after a few in-game hours, if you stay close to the body, it'll actually begin to decay into a meat pile and be swarmed by flies. These insects will emit a very audible buzzing sound. The meat pile will still contain all the loot that was left in the creature's inventory while it was still, well, not a meat pile. And funnily enough, it seems bodies that are directly exposed to sunlight or the outside will decay considerably faster than those that are left indoors. Of course, non-organic life forms, if that's how you want to call them, such as robots and automatons, will not experience the same effect. But next time you hear a bunch of flies swarming about, do keep in mind that nearby, someone or something passed away recently. Next on the list, northwest of Vault 76, sitting on a cliffside, players can find a very strange scene. A large, prepared dining table, balloons and chairs lay in the middle of nowhere. Clearly some fellows were having a bit of a party here, though this isn't the most appropriate location. If you pay attention to what's on the table, you may be even more surprised. Because while there is some food, most of the items on the plates are hats and teddy bears. There's also a number of teapots and sugar bags. Well, this all clearly seems to be a reference by Bethesda to the 1865 Lewis Carroll novel, Alice in Wonderland, specifically to the tea party constantly being held by a character known as the Mad Hatter, hence the hats all over the place. I would show you a clip from the 2010 movie, but I really don't think I'm gonna win a copyright dispute against Walt Disney, so we'll just have to make do with the cover illustration for now. Coming in at number 3, speaking of references to other media, east of Site Alpha, right about where I'm at on the map now, lies another very curious and strange site. Here can be found a decayed pre-war pickup truck, with some barrels in the bed, parked next to a large hole, with some more barrels, and a massive supply of pre-war cash inside. Overlooking this whole affair will be a skeleton wearing a Vault-Tec lab coat, not too far away from a gas mask. This scene, of course, is an Easter egg, nodding to the popular film series Breaking Bad, where protagonist Walter White, in one episode, buried something to the tune of millions of dollars in barrels in a hole he dug in the middle of a desert. While of course West Virginia's lush forests and New Mexico's scorching deserts are two very different locales, it appears this mischievous Vault-Tec scientist had a very similar ambition to a TV character we all know and love. Well, maybe not love, you get the idea. Coming at number 4, with it now being pretty much mandatory to eat and drink in order to keep your stats up, purified water has become perhaps more valuable in 76 than in any other previous Fallout game. Well, despite its increased utility, Fallout 76's purified water still bears one striking resemblance to the stuff we got to drink in Fallout 4. Its packaging. Both types of water are bottled by the MacDougall-Bernard Company, based out of Boston, Massachusetts. They even have the exact same model and text. Jay, wait a minute! Halfway through at number 5, southwest of Fort Defiance, lies Johnson's Acre, a small cabin and some land overlooking a cliffside. When you first arrive, the perimeter will be overrun with mole rats and rad roaches, so come a little prepared. A look around suggests this location was recently inhabited by some raiders, but they were probably taken care of by that previously mentioned infestation. However, back when they were running this place, the local raiders must have developed quite a creative way to pass the time, because on a nearby rock, survivors will discover an interesting contraption. Here 3 skeletons can be found, laid across 3 odd devices linked to levers. Pulling one of these levers will hilariously reveal that the devices are in fact catapults, and the skeletons will be flung way off into the distance in the horizon. Just next to these catapults is a small box, with even more skeletons in it, implying the raiders here had extra ammunition ready to go. Alas, as fate would have it, something drove the bandits off before we arrived, leaving us to be entertained by what they left behind. 6th, not too far away from the Breaking Bad Easter egg we looked at earlier, close to Site Alpha, we may stumble upon a bit of a mystery. Here in front of some rocks will be 2 abandoned pre-war motorcycles, and nuzzled between the earth, 2 skeletons, 2 teddy bears, and 3 garden gnomes. 1 broken. What in Adam's name happened here? One of the skeletons has his head detached, and where it would have been resting on the rock is a bloodstain. So foul play clearly was involved. Another gnome almost looks to be holding a weapon, and if you look closely at the teddy bears, you'll quickly realize that something here seems a bit off too. The toys' irises are red, their fur is a bit darker, and when selected and interacted with, you'll notice they're not called teddy bears, but instead, teddy fears. Oh my. Inanimate objects being the implied perpetrators of horrendous crimes isn't a foreign concept to the Fallout franchise. In Fallout 4, both gnomes and mannequins were commonly found in very incriminating positions, and it seems Fallout 76 is carrying that trend. Next, on the edge of a cliff southwest of White Powder Winter Sports, please don't mistranslate that, YouTube auto subtitles, survivors can find what's left of a clear dilemma between 2 miners. Their bones sit in front of a silver ore deposit. One miner will have a pickaxe lodged into his eye, seemingly delivered by the other miner, but in his hand will be a single action revolver, and it sort of looks like he managed to fire on his attacker too. So what I think happened here is this. 2 prospectors were out searching for riches in the hills when they finally struck silver, but upon realizing the immense riches that had befallen them, greed overtook one. Hoping to keep the ore for himself, one miner attempted to murder the other to death, but not before his would-be victim managed to deal a devastating injury to his attacker, and both fortune seekers ultimately perished. And so, these 2 men could have become some of the richest folks in their community, but instead they each paid the ultimate price thanks to their greed. I mean, not like it would have mattered, nukes were about to drop anyway, but still, you can see the lesson to be learned here. For 8th spot, north of the Uncanny Caverns, in a neighborhood bordering a large lake, one location you can happen upon is a large building called the Torrance House. Now, oddly, it's not really a house, but looks more like a motel. It will be very well protected by some protectatrons, however, so make sure you're geared up before you think about spending the night here. Behind the motel is a massive hedge maze. Some of you may already be beginning to figure out where this detail is going. If you manage to make it to the end, there won't be much, just a mannequin standing before a skeleton and a cooler. However, at one portion of the maze, you may find another skeleton, this one holding on to a fire axe. In case it's not coming together, this whole location is an Easter egg by Bethesda, alluding to the 1980 Stanley Kubrick movie, The Shining. There's also a book, but that one goes a bit different. The film, of course, centers around a family known as the Torrances, and their visit to a hotel that has a large hedge maze behind it. After the protagonist, Jack Torrance, goes on a rampage chasing his family around with a fire axe, he ultimately freezes to death during a blizzard after getting lost at that very hedge maze. So, as you walk around this building in Fallout 76, be mindful of the very tragic events that went on here, and watch out for Johnny's ghost. He might be here too. Getting close to the end here at number 9, within the town of Helvetia, a large museum, or at least what's left of it, sits on the eastern outskirts. The first floor is pretty much everything you would expect to find in a small town museum. A gallery, reception room, small office, all the fixings. But on the second story, we can walk in on a very tragic sight. In a kitchen will be 2 skeletons. I know skeletons are a frequent theme in this video, I suppose, sitting at a dinner table with bowls in front of them. Nothing is in the bowls, so they likely finished their meal before passing away. But also on the surface is a small box. However, it's not a cereal box. It's rat poison. These people must have made the decision to end their own lives shortly before or after the bombs fell. Not wanting to see what a post-nuclear world would look like, they decided to go out on their own terms. And after seeing that world, I can't really blame them. And finally, last on our list, just a short walk southeast of Vault 76 and northwest of Landview Lighthouse is the Isolated Cabin, a marked location on your map that consists of a single, isolated cabin and the yard surrounding it. A few mongrels will probably spawn here, so watch your step. Though, for the most part, this entire place looks pretty insignificant. Alas, it's holding a bit of a secret. You see, inside the doghouse on the property's lawn, probably where the mongrels came from, if you peek inside, you'll find it's anything but ordinary. A variety of test tubes, a chemistry set, and a printout of the periodic table of the elements are all in there. Furthermore, sketched into the doghouse's floor, in perhaps white chalk, is a massive mathematical equation. Now, I did some research, and this equation is actually Einstein's, one of his many, and it's meant to tell the structure of the entire universe. So, these dogs that just attacked you must have had some very important work going on in their spare time. Such a shame that they never got to finish. And with that, we are going to wrap up. 10 tiny details you may have missed in Fallout 76. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Which of what we showed off today did you find to be the coolest or most fascinating? And what Easter eggs, hidden secrets, or other tiny details do you know of that I've yet to cover? Leave a comment down below, because there's likely many more where that came from. Again, thanks for watching, like ratings are as always very much appreciated, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Peace out, everybody.